Trash is our passion. Welcome to the Food Hub. The amount of food we rescue in 1 month, which is 20,000 pounds, is enough to feed one person every meal of every day for the next 15 years.
Because of this place and the work they do, the mission doesn't suffer for quality food.
We are serving about 1,000 individuals weekly.
Production of Farm to Fork Wyoming is made possible with the generous support of the Wyoming Business Council Agribusiness Division, Rocky Mountain Gardening Magazine, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Across America, there's a new generation of thinkers tackling this problem at the intersection of waste and want.
A lot of my friends were dumpster divers. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, and that was a popular thing to do, go look in the trash for food. When I moved up to Jackson a few years later, I decided to go look in the local grocery store dumpster. And from the first day I opened that dumpster lid to the time I started Whole Food Rescue, I was finding hundreds, if not thousands of dollars worth of food in the dumpster every time I went. And it was really one particular dumpster that brought me into action. I opened the lid of the dumpster one day and it was full of packaged chicken breast. And I was totally appalled by all of that waste right in front of my eyes, because it wasn't just the animal's life that was being wasted, but there was fossil fuel, there was water, there was packaging, human labor, transportation, all getting wasted when that product was wasted.
One look at the statistics around food waste and you see big impacts on every level. From the environmental impacts of greenhouse gases to wasted water, energy, and land. And if just the amount of discard per person per month doesn't get to you, then think about the impact of cutting just 15% of this loss. Think of the difference that would make for a family of 4 living on the edge. But in Jackson, Whole Food Rescue has been making a big difference in their community.
This is where everything comes in and out. We relocate about 20,000 pounds of food every month.
At 23 and tending bar, Alison Dunford began to salvage a niche for herself in the heart of Jackson Hole.
So all of that food is brought in, we weigh it, we sort it, and then it's picked up by our partner organizations all through this door. And all of this happens because of our amazing volunteer force. We've got our schedule up here on the whiteboard, which is constantly in flux, but we have about 50 volunteers every week picking up food, sorting food, dropping food off. And then if you come back this way.
3 years into it, Whole Food Rescue plays an important role for the environment and local food security.
I'll give you a little peek into our fridges. We've got quite a lot of dairy. All of this stuff was given to us because the date on it has come. But all of this stuff is still safe to consume. You can see I've been working away on some chocolate milk. So there's a lot of consumer misconception about safety. The FDA, Food and Drug Administration, is the entity that's supposed to have kind of the watchdog eyes over food safety. And they don't actually mandate or set up any standards for food date labeling. And so it's put back on the manufacturer, and what the manufacturers are doing is they're putting a date for which their product is at peak quality. So when you look at a gallon of milk and it says today's date, that doesn't mean it's bad, and that doesn't mean it's going to be bad tomorrow either. It just means that the manufacturer is ensuring that the highest quality, the most fresh the product could be, will last up into that date. And it very well may go beyond that date, but it's definitely going to be safe beyond that date, especially a dairy product, seeing as it's highly pasteurized.
Most dairy products today are ultra-pasteurized, in which case refrigeration isn't even necessary until after opening. But regular pasteurized products are still more prone to spoiling.
We decided that we want to, of course, be super safe. We don't want to get anyone sick. We don't want to get the seniors sick. You know, maybe they're more sensitive, or either way, we just want to make sure that we're not being too
lenient.
Yeah, too lenient. So we decided a week after the expiration date is the max that will relocate this dairy.
For meat, we do relocate meat products, but we require that the food donor freezes it on or before the date of best use. The only thing the Food and Drug Administration requires labeling for is baby food, and so that's one thing that we just will not relocate. If it's past date, we just unfortunately throw it away. As I look more into the research, I'm constantly eating food that's expired, and I'm still here, I'm still healthy.
Yeah, I don't think I can recall any occasion where I have gotten sick from any expired food that I have eaten.
Food is often recalled by manufacturers and tossed into grocery store dumpsters for safety reasons. So unless the grocer has handed it off directly, there's a chance it's been recalled. Get up-to-date info at recalls.gov.
Here's another fridge full of dairy. We've got tons of yogurt. We've got some apples. I bet there's probably one apple in here that, yep, see there's one rotten apple that I'll compost in a little bit, but all the rest of the apples are fine. So this is a really good example of the type of food that we rescue. I know we've got a freezer full. This is full of meat, bread. We've got some limeade. I didn't know limeade could expire, but apparently it can. And one of our lovely volunteers has been baking banana bread. That's that bottom shelf down there. She's been taking brown bananas and turning it into loaves of bread. So this is just a normal day. This is not unusual for us to have food filling every fridge, every freezer.
We get overwhelmed with dairy products and we get overwhelmed with bread products.
And this stuff has already been sorted?
Yeah, this stuff has been sorted, and my guess is these bananas will probably end up at the pig farm. They've been here for a day now and nobody took them, so that's kind of how we manage our inventory. Stuff comes in, and typically if it's not taken within a day, we give it to the pig farmer, because a lot of this stuff is perishables, it's on its way out. So if it's not used quickly, it just won't get used probably. So here's an example of some of the stuff we give to the pig farmer. So all this just gets stacked up in here and waits for the farmer to come get it. He's coming on Saturday.
You know, it's funny, like we've been like struggling with this word trash a lot.
Or waste too.
Or waste, yeah.
I'm not dumpster diving anymore. That's an important note.
Yeah, because we don't really want to make it sound like we're picking stuff out of the trash and feeding it to people. So Lucky's is doing a great job at culling all this beautiful stuff that otherwise will be thrown into the garbage, and they put it in boxes for our volunteers to be picked up in these shelves here. The food that we get these days is, you know, meticulously set aside by our food donors. We come here on a daily basis. It hasn't come near the trash. So another thing besides produce that we pick up is dairy, which is often a lot also.
The challenges of waste are entrenched across our entire food system.
The grocery stores and outfitters and businesses in this town are faced with a really hard reality that we live in a tourist town. And so they're constantly trying to predict how much to order, how much are they going to sell. And when the tourists don't show up or they go to a different store instead of theirs, they have all this leftover inventory. So that's kind of one reason why there's a lot of food waste here. Another reason is that all grocery stores order in bulk, and so they're getting stuff shipped up by the pallet, and maybe they can only sell a flat and a half of bananas. So just inevitably for them to get the amount of product that they can sell, there's going to be some shrinkage or waste associated with that. And then for our working force, the backbone of our community is service workers. And the service industry is one of the lowest paying industries in the world. And that happens to be where most of our workforce is. And so if you couple the high price of housing here and also food costs with low wages, it really creates circumstances for food insecurity.
Tell me what we just saw.
Okay.
What's happening here today right now?
Sure. So today we had our army of volunteers converge, and they packed 620 food bags with breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, for this weekend.
As the director of a childhood hunger project in Casper, Jamie is especially close to the issue of food insecurity in Wyoming.
Hunger is this strange thing for people to grasp onto, even though you can, shout numbers all day. But really, food insecure people can be, mentally ill, or it can be seniors who are living on just a small amount of money every month. It can be kids. Obviously, in Natrona County, it's 3,000. In Wyoming, it's about 26,000 kids who are food insecure. Yeah. And then, you know, just adults who are working really hard, but just can't make ends meet. I mean, in Wyoming, the minimum wage is still $5.15 an hour. And not many people pay that. I mean, most people pay more, but still $8 an hour, 40 hours a week is really hard to provide on.
For Ali and Jeske, the scope of the challenge in Jackson is pretty clear too.
There is over 3,000 people deemed food insecure in Teton County, Wyoming, and to a lot of people that's a shock because they see this beautiful resort town. If you peel the layers, you can really find out that there's a lot of people struggling here.
And although food rescue is already happening across a lot of Wyoming's small communities, a lot is falling through the cracks.
If you're a national chain and you're part of Feeding America, which means in Wyoming, you're part of the Wyoming Food Bank of the Rockies network. And basically what that means is you purchase food from Wyoming Food Bank of the Rockies or have it donated to you, but you're a member. Then you can go to these national chains and get grocery rescue. But there's bakeries in communities that aren't part of that network. And then there's restaurants and there's all kinds of places that produce food that are still kind of either wasting their food or just trying to find a way to donate it. And because they're not part of that big corporate national structure, there's just food going to waste. And I think that circles back to how Whole Food Rescue came upon their system, just because in Jackson, a lot of things are independent. And so you were able to forge relationships with those independent places. Here in Casper, there's still a lot of independent places that you can forge relationships from, but there's also, just because we're a larger population center, a lot of corporate, like Walmart, Albertsons, places like that are already doing rescue to places.
So Ali quickly began to pick up what was falling through the cracks in Jackson.
Food rescue was not necessarily a new concept to Jackson. The homeless shelter, our food pantry, and a local church were actually rescuing food from some of the grocery stores some days. And what I was finding was evidence that their efforts wasn't enough. There was constantly food being thrown away. So my idea with Whole Food Rescue was not to inhibit those current rescue models, but enhance them or work in conjunction with them.
What Whole Food Rescue has done is basically streamlined everything to where they're working together. We'd have somebody from the cupboard come and get some stuff, we'd have it separate, and then we'd have somebody from the mission come and ask for some stuff. And then got to be there for a while where who could get there the first, who could get there faster than the other group. So this way it's able for us to go with just one local source, then they source it out.
I mean, like if they don't eat them all, their volunteers will probably take them home, At the advice of the Community Foundation of Jackson Hole, I decided not to start a nonprofit right out of the gates. And so I partnered with the Jackson Cupboard, which is our local food pantry, and they were our fiscal sponsor for about the first year and a half of our organization.
At the time, we were operating out of her garage. So it was just crazy to come into her garage and there was like bins of food everywhere.
And we were processing about 10,000 pounds a month through that space. And then a year and a half into it, we decided our mission was really going in a different direction and we wanted to expand, so we decided to become our own nonprofit. And now that we have our facility, we've managed to double. So we're doing about 20,000 pounds of food in and out of this facility every month. So that's a huge milestone for us, is just overall capacity. But the Jackson Cupboard totally nurtured and supported us through the first year and a half and enabled us to get good solid feet on the ground before we were on our own.
Now, with some staffing funds and dedicated space, logistics have improved greatly.
There's a lot of people involved in this process, a lot of volunteers. Obviously, getting the food, bringing it here, sorting it, weighing it, washing these bins, keeping things tidy, mopping the floor. This morning we were bringing a new refrigerator in. We had a truck and we had people bumping into each other, and we were doing a lot of different tasks.
We have such a spectrum of volunteers. We've got 20-somethings who are just out of college and have moved here to live the dream and be a ski bum, and maybe they're working 3 jobs but somehow find the time to volunteer with us. We've got working mothers and their daughters who come and volunteer with us. We've got people who are retired.
It's pretty fun. It's fun when there's a bunch of people in here and they're all sort of bumping into each other and working together and laughing and eating sometimes.
We really don't have to recruit volunteers anymore, which is great, because I remember kind of begging my coworkers to come and volunteer for me, or with me. I was a volunteer at the time.
And the whole executive administrative level is at a whole nother level now because of grant writing and establishment with partnerships and other community members and municipal agencies and all that.
We partnered with about 18 community organizations that provide either meals or they provide the food assistance.
So organizations are able to come gather food on a day-to-day basis.
I work at the Good Samaritan Mission. I'm the kitchen manager there, and we're feeding probably 350 to 400 meals a week right now, and then another 2,000 pounds of groceries go out our door to needy families every week. I have a budget of $400 a month, and that is to feed approximately 1,800 meals.
And so we have all these partnerships, and every day we have those people to come here to the hub to pick out what they need that day to make those meals or to provide that food for their clients.
Is it kind of nice to actually have the element of surprise and creative thinking?
Oh yeah, my world is chopped. If you've watched the show on the Food Network, you know, where they give you a group of ingredients and you have to make something out of it, that's my world. I live there. I tell you, if I could go choose to buy bread in town, it would be this one. I'm addicted to it. And this is good old Cisco stuff. I'm not sure where she got it. Probably a restaurant shut down for the season. But I don't know if y'all buy cheese, but I can't afford to buy it, but I can sure afford to serve it because of Whole Food Rescue. Okay, my guys love the chocolate milk. Man. Allie's been real good this year in keeping us in eggs too. They get quite a few eggs in.
The reason we do eggs to order at the mission, as much as we can, we have less waste.
Oh yeah. That's enough for 2 meals. And more chocolate milk. Oh, let's check that one. Oh my goodness. Score! This is chili, and this is good chili too. I don't know if y'all have ever had this, but I think this is from Cisco. But this will save me whenever I have a volunteer come in to cook and they don't show up. I can heat some chili up really quick. Whose is that? That's not mine. So anything that's in small packages, I try to leave for the seniors and the other nonprofits that do smaller amounts. I think that's all I need today. But often when I come here, there's so much, you know, and hopefully I can help whittle it down a little bit and put it where it's going to be used. This is some of the best bread you can get, and we're able to give them just wonderful things because of Whole Food Rescue. Without them, to feed the same quality food, I know it would cost me $1,000, $1,500 a week in food cost alone. It's good to be able to feed people because I think history has showed us that kids don't learn and men don't work well when they're hungry, you know? So hopefully we're doing our part for the community, and I can tell you Allie and Jeske certainly are. It's just a blessing. I just can't tell you. You know, God has blessed us tremendously with them, and I just wish them all the success in the world.
And a large portion goes to the senior center from Monday through Friday. It's about between 100 and 200 pounds easily that goes there every single day. And we also were able to really tailor our food donations to our recipient organizations, because beforehand the volunteer would go to the grocery store, pick up their excess food, and would take it directly to one of the partnering organizations, which was at the time the Jackson Cupboard, the Senior Center. And there, it wouldn't always be used because sometimes we get 20 flats of strawberries or 8 boxes of bananas, you name it. Sometimes you just get overwhelmed by just one product, so that was causing secondary food waste at that location, at the recipient organization's location. So now we can really prevent that by making sure each organization either picks out what they need or we take to them what they can really use. Okay, how about we give this to them?
Okay.
And some apples, you said?
Yeah.
And everything that's left that we can't relocate, we make sure it gets to the farmer.
And the focus goes beyond the environmental impact and hunger.
We're really trying to focus within our mission to only divert nutritious whole foods and not so much to processed, complete junk foods, because that's really unempowering to people that are food insecure, and we just really want to make sure we provide stuff that is enhancing their diet, enhancing their quality of life, as opposed to making it even more challenging than it already is.
Yeah, it's a constant juggling act in here to make room for, getting these needs balanced. Food going out, food coming in, composting, moving stuff around, and the idea of quality. Obviously, we want to pass on food that's wholesome, not spoiled, relatively fresh, etc. But beyond that, these baked products from the local bakery are clearly a notch above things that are already packaged and they're baked in Utah or California or somewhere else, and they're coming here. And certainly a lot of stuff that's maybe not so nutritious, we don't bother with that. We don't even give it to pigs.
We rescued a lot of Halloween candy last year.
Yeah.
This year I don't think we'll do that.
We just leave it at the store now because it just doesn't make sense for us to bring it here and take up precious time from our volunteers to sort through it if we already know we don't really want to give this out. So basically it goes straight into the trash at the donor site.
Well, and something that was alarming to us is Curtis Hatterley, he's one of our pig farmers. He said, could you not give us donuts or brownies or things like that anymore? I don't want to feed that to my pigs. And this light bulb went off in my head, and I'm like, if we won't feed this to pigs, why are we feeding it to people?
Yeah.
You need a piece of pie once in a while, but yeah, it's so important.
So Jeske is our accountant. She's very good at her job, meticulously tracking everything.
And the goals continue to evolve.
This is part of the scene, so
Yes.
where did that food come from? And I've got it all weighed. And
That is all from Mad River. A new area of focus for us is these seasonal closures. So a lot of the restaurants in Jackson and outfitters, they have business during summer and during winter. And then at the end of that season, they shut down, and whatever's left over in their kitchens, they typically would just throw away. But now we're starting to capture some of that food. So we just have a bunch of stuff that came in from Mad River. A lot of, looks like frozen veggie burgers, some cheese. This is a big package of cheese that is fine. They just didn't have a use for it, so it would have been thrown away.
I'm guessing it's around 350, 400.
398.2.
Oh, so close.
Educating their donors and recipients is another part of making it all work.
We give an annual report to our food donors saying how much food by weight they've given us, but it doesn't break it down by food type. And that's something we want to expand in the future, is education with our food donors, because, for example, certain types of yogurt, certain types of milk, we always get from a certain food donor. And so if we could help educate them and say, we're getting 3 cases once a month extra of X, Y, and Z, maybe they would scale back their ordering. So in the long term, our goal is definitely to educate to help reduce the total amount of food that's being in threat of waste, I guess.
We have been doing some pilot project with one of our board members. She's a nutritionist, and she has been doing these cooking classes for low income and at-risk mothers. So when we do give them this food, they know what to do with it.
We're really just at the tip of the iceberg. We rescue 20,000 pounds, but we think there's probably 60 to 80,000 pounds of food wasted every month in this town. So if we think about it long term, the amount of food in this town that's wasted every month is probably far beyond how much we could actually relocate.
We are still trying to figure out more outlets because we are serving about 1,000 individuals recurring weekly. And so we want to reach that 3,000 residents that are deemed food insecure. Are they going through the existing channels? Why aren't they already with the organizations that we have partnered with, and how can we get to them?
Once we reach maximum distribution where everybody who's food insecure in this town has adequate food access, we want to go back to the food donors and help them scale back and educate them on trying to buy less, order more efficiently so it makes sense. And so we're not throwing stuff away. And something that we haven't tackled yet, but we're hopeful to, is the waste that comes out of catered events, banquets, weddings, festivals, conferences. We have a ton of those things in this place, and all of them pretty much have excess food at the end. We actually got a text message last night from somebody who was putting on an event at Snow King, and they sent us this photo of a beautiful platter of cheese and vegetables and fruits, and they said, "Can you use this? I just heard about Whole Food Rescue," and it was too late. It was like 9:30 at night. We couldn't do anything about it. But it just really kind of reignited the reality that there is this other layer of waste that we're not even tackling, and we're hopeful to figure out what to do with it.
That's the next thing we want to do here too. No one in our community has gotten to that catered piece yet. We call it restaurant rescue, but it's the same thing. And what we want to get to is to put a system into place where you bring it in and you inventory it and then you reportion it and put it in like that TV dinner and then put it out.
To watch and learn more about this and other episodes of Farm to Fork Wyoming, go online to wyomingpbs.org/farm to fork.
This episode of Farm to Fork Wyoming is available for $25. Order online at shop.wyomingpbs.org. This program was produced by Wyoming PBS, which is solely responsible for its content.